Title: Joe Rogan versus Flat Earther Galactus, the Cosmic Confrontation. It was a typical Tuesday in Austin, Texas. Joe Rogan was deep into a podcast about the meaning of life, quantum mechanics, and whether or not owls were just nature's perfect conspiracy theorists, when suddenly the sky turned purple. Not the fun purple of a sunset or the mystical purple of someone's favorite vape flavor. No, this was the kind of purple that screamed, "Something weird is happening" in the universe. The air grew thick, the earth trembled beneath him, and Joe's podcast equipment started to crackle with static, as if some cosmic force was interfering with the very fabric of reality. Suddenly, a colossal shadow cast over Joe's backyard. He turned, squinting into the sky, and saw something. Huge. Something that made no sense. A being so large that it seemed to be swallowing entire continents with each blink. It was none other than Galactus, the devourer of worlds. But this wasn't just any Galactus. This was Flat Earther Galactus, a version of the cosmic entity who, for some bizarre reason, had fallen into a rabbit hole of weird YouTube videos and had come to the conclusion that the Earth was indeed flat. And he wasn't going to let anyone stop him from spreading this truth, not even the literal force of nature that could destroy planets with a flick of his cosmic finger. "Joe Rogan," boomed the voice of Galactus, shaking the very atmosphere. "I have come to deliver the truth. The Earth is flat, and I will destroy your little world for spreading the lie of a round planet." Joe wiped his brow, rubbed his temples, and adjusted his alpha brain, because if he was going to fight this literal godlike being, he'd need all the mental clarity he could get. "So, you're telling me, big guy, that you've literally destroyed worlds before, but you've never actually done any research on geography?" Galactus glared down, his massive head narrowing into a cosmic scowl. "I do not need to research, Rogan. I have seen the great flatness of the Earth with my own eyes. It is the truth, and I will bring the rest of the universe to understand it, starting with you." Joe shook his head. "Okay, but seriously, what do you even see? I'm pretty sure you can just zoom out, see the curvature of the Earth, and, I don't know, get a better perspective on things." Galactus paused. He clearly had not considered that, which, in Joe's mind, was both hilarious and slightly terrifying. "What do you mean, zoom out? Are you saying that there's more to the world than just this?" Galactus asked, pointing at the flat expanse below. Joe chuckled. "Oh, buddy, you've got a lot to learn. I've talked to neuroscientists, astrophysicists, and people who definitely don't think the moon is made of cheese. You need to chill out and get a real telescope." At this point, Galactus had had enough. His hands crackled with energy, the cosmic force radiating from him in waves of destruction. "Enough! I will destroy you, Rogan. Prepare for the cosmic purge." Joe immediately dropped into his cerebral jujitsu stance, a rare and ancient form of mental combat that involved asking ridiculously deep questions while simultaneously holding a perfect plank. He had learned this technique after listening to Jordan Peterson's audiobook, 12 Rules for Life, on repeat during a meditation retreat. "Okay, let me ask you this," Joe said, glancing up at the gigantic being. "If the Earth is flat, then why does the horizon curve when you fly on an airplane? Why is the southern hemisphere literally upside down?" Galactus's eyes widened slightly, but he quickly regained his composure. "That's just an illusion. It's all part of the conspiracy to keep the truth from us." Joe grinned, like a man who knew exactly where this was going. "Okay, how about this? If the Earth is flat, why is there an observable phenomenon where ships disappear bottom first over the horizon? You know, like boats disappearing into the distance, not just stopping out of sight." Galactus paused again. His cosmic brain, vast and ancient, struggled to comprehend the simple logic that Joe was presenting. "That does not compute," Galactus muttered, clearly rattled by a podcast host in a black t-shirt and jeans, standing on his lawn while making actual, valid points. Joe seized the moment. "That's right, buddy. You know what else doesn't compute? Your entire theory. So here's the thing. I don't need to blast you with cosmic energy or try to use ancient weapons from the Zoolander 2 set to stop you. I'm just going to keep asking questions until you finally realize. The Earth is round." Galactus, now visibly sweating cosmic particles, threw up his arms in frustration. "You're relentless, but you're wrong." "Nope, I'm just using the power of logic," Joe said, giving a knowing smile. With a frustrated grunt, Galactus lowered his hands. Joe had won the mental battle, but just as things were winding down, he had one last thing to say. By the way, man, you should totally check out some stand-up comedy. It'll loosen you up. Go see someone like Bill Burr. Trust me, it'll change your perspective on life and the Earth. Galactus, defeated not by physical might, but by the sheer force of reason and stand-up comedy, floated back into space. Fine, Rogan, but I'm still telling everyone that the Earth is flat. No one can stop me. Joe watched as the colossal being disappeared into the stars. Yeah, well, at least he didn't destroy the planet. I'll take that win, Joe said to himself. He looked down at his phone, which had just pinged with a new podcast idea. And so, the Earth was saved once again, not by brute force or superhero fists, but by the power of curiosity, logic, and just enough trolling to send even a cosmic deity into a spiral of self-doubt. Joe Rogan went back to his podcast studio, cracked open a can of elk protein, and dialed up his next guest. All right, this next episode is going to be great. Notice I'm interviewing a flat earther turned space philosopher. He's got some questions for the universe. And